What's up, guys? This is Kephas.
The Undermine patch is finally here for the War Within, and I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like I've spent most of my time just doing this, just kind of driving around the Undermine. And as you can tell, all of my practice hasn't necessarily made me a better driver, but I have been having a lot of fun. And I have to say that the biggest thing that I've come to realize is that driving around Undermine feels incredible with a controller. If you play WoW with console port like I do and you're playing with the controller, maybe you've also realized this, but I've seen a lot of people talk about how clunky driving around can feel, and I think I understand why that is. And it's because the way that you drive around in this game is with button presses that are digital. There's no analog control for your driving, and that can certainly add to the clunkiness for sure. And I think that's a big part of why, because I've also spent a little bit of time switching over to keyboard and mouse control, as I clunkily do here, and I have to say that yeah, it does feel a little odd, but I do think that with a little bit of practice you can certainly get used to it. What I like to do is I like to press W and then hold down right click on my mouse and sort of turn that way, and that does help a bit, though there is a little bit more drifting involved there, and it can get a little bit weird when you're doing that and you're trying to maybe use A and D to turn. You can't actually do that when you're right clicking, so there's a little bit of a weirdness to driving around, certainly with the analog control, or with the digital controls for sure. Now, what's cool though is if you switch over to a controller, it actually starts to feel, at least for me, it feels a lot more natural. And maybe it's just because I play a lot of games with the controller. Certainly a lot of games where you drive around, like I think of Grand Theft Auto, LA Noire, tons of other games with driving mechanics, Cyberpunk, all those. I play all those games with the controller. And what's cool though is that with driving around with the controller, so obviously the controls really aren't that different. There's nothing super groundbreaking here. You're hitting forward on the left joystick to move forward. You hit backwards on the left joystick to then move backwards, and you can still turn left and right on the joystick. And what seems to be kind of neat about this is that for whatever reason on the joystick, now there's a little bit of a bug where sometimes it will get kind of weird where I'll only turn left, like right there. I hit right, you can't see it, but I hit right on the joystick and kind of jerk to the left. So there's a little bit of a bug there that hopefully the mod author can kind of figure out and work out. But what's neat is if I barely turn the joystick, it seems like it turns a little bit. So I feel like I have a little bit of control when it works, when it's not bugging out on me. I have a little bit of control with the joystick that almost feels a little bit more like I can kind of control the sharpness of my turn just a little bit. Again, I don't know how that works because there's no analog support to this, as far as I know. So but it does seem to see, I'm only slightly turning, whereas if I push it all the way down, then I turn a little bit more sharply. But what I like to do, especially because right now that is a little bit broken, is what I like to do is I like to use the right stick, which controls the camera and also allows me to turn. Now the turn isn't as instant, so I can still use the left stick if I need to turn even more sharp. So I'm kind of doing that here, where I'm turning the camera and also using both sticks, to make crazy turns. And like I said, it's a lot more comfortable for me to do this with the controller. It almost feels like it's made for controller for sure. So using the right stick to control the camera and steering, and then the left stick to control movement and also increasing the sharpness of the steering, that right there was a pretty solid turn that felt pretty easy to do. And again, with a keyboard and mouse, it seems like if I hold down the right stick to control the camera movement, then I can't use A and D to also turn. But it seems like with the controller, I can use both sticks to have a little bit more control over turning. Another thing, and again, this may depend on your keybinds, but you have your action bar with the abilities like boosting, for example, and that can also feel a little bit weird if you're using a keyboard and mouse where you're having to hit hold down W to move forward, and then you also want to hit your button to boost, and also maybe you need to turn because you're moving so fast. It's a little tricky. It's going to take some time getting used to. And again, this isn't about me saying, oh, controller plays better. I actually think this is one of the rare times where controller genuinely, to me at least, feels better than keyboard and mouse in a World of Warcraft mechanic, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, so the way I have it set up is, you can see my bar down there. I have my action bar set up with the normal buttons, which is using right trigger and then the face buttons. And so if I am moving around using the D-pad or the joysticks, and then I hit right trigger and A, I activate boost. And there I'm not having to fumble around with different buttons, and I'm able to control it a little bit easier. And again, it just feels incredibly natural to play and drive around this way with a controller. And thank God that this is essentially a bumper car, because if it wasn't, I'd be hitting everything and getting stuck constantly. So it's been a lot of fun to just kind of drive around and explore the map a little bit, or just not even pay attention and drive around. It's awesome. It's so much fun. It feels a lot like, you know, it's not quite on the level of Grand Theft Auto, just because of the slight clunkiness of it, but I do have to applaud them for, in my opinion, coming up with something that I think is a lot of fun, really cool, and I want to be looking forward to pimping out my ride and, you know, just enjoying this, you know, content for a while. So I thought this was kind of cool. I thought I'd kind of show off, you know, just my experience, you know, playing with the controller, and just something cool about playing with the controller that I thought would be kind of fun to share. So I hope you like this video. I hope you are having fun with this patch as much as I am, and driving around and having a good time, and hopefully driving better than me. You know, there's a reason why legally blind people like me don't ever drive. But either way, you guys, I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.